Life's too short to read books that you're not really intrigued by. That's literally all I know. That was a horrible explanation, and I apologize. I feel like people are gonna come for me with what I just said about that series. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Nellie, and I love to read, and I love even more to yap about the books that I'm reading. Today, we're going to be doing a video that I've been thinking about for a long time, and that is all the series that I'm currently in the middle of and whether I'm going to continue on in them or not. I said this before in a recent video where I talked about series that I've completed so far this year. I, at my core, in my heart, am a series girl. Like, I love a good series. I feel like that is what I love to read when I first started my reading journey as a kid and has continued through my adult life as well. That being said, things have gotten out of hand. I am currently in the middle of 26 series right now. Out of those 26 series, I'm currently caught up on 11 of them, which makes me feel a lot better. So currently, I am needing to continue in 14 series that I'm reading. I was trying to decide whether or not I would talk about all the series that I'm currently caught up in and whether or not I would continue with them, but I figured it would be better to just put them right here on the screen so that you guys can see them. These are the 11 series that I'm currently caught up in, and they are all also series that I plan on continuing in. I'm just waiting for the next book to come out. Now on to the series that I am currently in the middle of, that I have books that I need to read before either the next books in the series comes out or to just complete the series. That leaves us with 15, and that is still quite a lot. So we're just gonna jump right into it. So sit down, relax, grab a blanket, grab something to hydrate you, and let's get right on into it. Now, the first series I'm going to be talking about today is the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy by Stephanie Garber. I actually just started the series like within the last week. I read the first book and I'm currently in the middle of the second book. This is a YA fantasy series that is truly full of such whimsy and magic. I feel like these UK covers really do it justice. Like, you're seeing what you're gonna get inside of these books. In this book, we're following Evangeline, who is our female main character, and she, in the beginning of the first book, she ends up coming to Jax, who is the Prince of Hearts, asking him for help because the love of her life is marrying somebody else. She ends up striking a bargain with Jax that ends up giving her way more than she bargained for. It's really kind of one of those be careful what you wish for kind of stories. I have heard so many incredible things about this series. I have heard that Evangeline and Jax are just everything, that it is the ultimate slow burn, and that you will fall in love with this love story as well as this whimsical, magical world. So far, I've only finished the first book in the series, and it was good. It was really good. I had a great time reading it. I am still trying to find that moment where everyone else has read the series where they're like, oh my gosh, the series is amazing, the series is god tier. So far, I'm just having a good time. I haven't had that yet. However, I have heard that the second book is really what ends up making the series god tier for everyone who's read it and everyone who loves the series. So because of that, this is definitely a series that I plan on continuing. I am hoping to finish and binge this series soon. I just feel like when a series has 2 or 3 books, I have no excuse for putting it off, and I have been. So I'm hoping to get to this one very soon. The next series I'm in the middle of, also a YA fantasy series. It's another trilogy, and this is The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. This is another series, you'll see a pattern here, where I have only read the first book, but I own the next 2 books. So I have no excuse. I actually read this book about 2 years ago, I want to say, and I have no complaints about this first book. I absolutely loved it. In this book, we are following our main character, Kiva, who is 17 years old and has been living in this notorious death prison for the past few years, and she eventually worked herself up as a prison healer. She belongs to a rebel people. Essentially, her people have kind of been taken over by this other kingdom, and there is a character who is brought into the prison who's called essentially the Rebel Queen. She is sentenced to participate in these trials that really nobody can survive, and especially not this queen, who's honestly down for the count. I'm pretty sure she's in some type of a coma when she comes in. Kiva ends up getting a message from the resistance that says, do anything you can to keep her alive because we're coming. and she ends up volunteering to take the Rebel Queen's place in these trials. There's also another mysterious prisoner that she's very, very intrigued by. I think what I really loved about this book is the plot twist at the end was just incredible. On top of me just really being invested in this book throughout it, I felt like the plot twist really made me want to read the next book, which is why I went out and bought the next 2 books in this trilogy, but then I just never read it. So yeah, I have no excuse. I definitely am planning on finishing this trilogy. I just don't know if I'm gonna get to it this year. I would love to, but I feel like there are other series on this tracker that I'm just like prioritizing a little bit more. However, this is a really, really great series. Speaking of series that I do want to finish before the end of this year, I have the Elements of Cadence. Now, this is an adult fantasy duology by Rebecca Ross, the same person who wrote Divine Rivals. And the thing about me and Rebecca Ross, it's that, you know, we get each other. I love Rebecca Ross's writing, especially in this duology. It's a duology I cannot believe is not more popular than it is. I cannot believe it's not talked about as much as it should be. She just spins a tale that is so mystical and magical and cozy and yet mysterious all in one in this duology. We are following 2 different couples, so 4 different perspectives in this series, and they all live on this Scottish isle where the spirits, the earth, the wind, the fire, the water spirits, all play a really big part in their daily life. They revere these spirits. They are very much real. And one day, one of our main characters is coming back after living off of the island for a while. He is called back because there are young girls going missing off of this island, and the people need his help to find them. I would say our main character in this book, because obviously there's 4 different perspectives, is Jack, that is coming back to this island, and he is a bard. Bards are very, very important to appeasing the fae spirits and being able to communicate with them. And so the people of Cadence need him back to be able to get information from the spirits on if the spirits themselves are taking the girls or if somebody else is. It is such an interesting series, and the love stories in this, plural, are just absolutely incredible. This is probably one of my most high priority series that I'm going to talk about today. A big part of that is because it's a duology, and I feel like that would just be so easy. All I need to do is read one, and then I would knock this off of my TBR. But also, I do feel like this book is going to be so good to read during the fall, which is the season that I am going into. So this is a series I will definitely be continuing in, and I would highly, highly recommend. Next is a series that I am unsure on whether or not I'm going to continue in the series. I'm kind of feeling like I might need to do a reread of this first book to see how I feel about the series. And that is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I actually bought this book when it originally came out a few years ago, and I really did enjoy the story. I don't think it was like God tier for me, but I did enjoy the story. I just have a habit of reading the first book in a series, and if the next book isn't out yet, I just kind of forget about it. I've heard so many mixed things about the series. A lot of people who said that they just didn't enjoy it as much as they liked, that the series is going on too long. But part of me is just kind of like, I have the book, I might as well try it and see if it's for me or not. So again, I'm debating on whether or not I'm going to either reread this first book or just watch like a really in-depth recap of this book and then maybe rent the next one from the library before I buy another book, just in case I'm not interested in it. But I have heard a lot about the prequel series to this series being really, really good, and so that has piqued my interest again. So this is just kind of like a maybe. It's just not high on my priority, but I do feel like eventually I do want to try this series again to see if it's for me. I just realized that my microphone was not on this entire time. Nice one, Nelly. I have very similar feelings about this next series, and that is the Crowns of Nia. This is the first duet in this series, and I read The Serpent and the Wings of Night. This is one of the books that got me back into reading probably about 2 years ago. I did really love it. Like, I found that it was fast-paced. I was very interested in the story. I honestly couldn't tell you what it's about right now because it's been so long, but I know there was vampires and there was trials. But I immediately bought Ashes in the Star-Cursed King, and I could not get into it. I think I tried to read the first few chapters and it just, I don't know, I just like stopped caring about it. However, in my mind at the time, I was doing like a soft DNF. I never meant to just not pick up this series again. Because of that, it's been a few years now, and I'm wondering if now is the time that I try this again. This is a series that I've heard really, really mixed things about. I've heard that the novellas in this series, though, are really, really good, and I just feel like I can't move on to that until I've read the next one in the series. So maybe if I don't continue the series in the next year, then I'm just gonna unhaul it at that point. But the first book had so much promise, so it's just hard to say that I'm not gonna continue in it, you know? This is a series that if you've read it and you've loved it, please hype me up in the comments below. The next series that I am also in the middle of is a romance series. I actually don't have the physical copies of this series. I've been reading them on Kindle, and that is the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. So I have very mixed feelings on these books. I know that this author in this series is just like beloved by a lot of people. This series receives a lot of hype on social media, but this series has just been like a 3-star series for me so far. I think the highest book I've rated so far in this series is a 3.75. However, I believe I'm only 2 books into this series, so I keep thinking, you know, maybe I give it another chance, but I'm still just at a solid maybe. I did like the second book in the series better than the first one, so I think if this continues on that kind of projection, then I think that I could love the end of the series, because there are 5 books in the series and I've only read 2. I think it's worth me giving it another try. It's not that I didn't like the books, it's just that I didn't super connect with them and like I wasn't wowed by them. But I would say that yes, I would continue in the series. Another romance series that I'm in the middle of is Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I actually didn't know that these books were connected until after I read the second one, which is Problematic Summer Romance. I loved this book. I really, really liked this book. It was one of my favorite summer romances I've read so far this year. As I was reading it, I realized that Not in Love was supposed to come first. Obviously, they are interconnected standalone, so it really doesn't matter that much that I didn't read this one first, but technically this is a little series that I'm still in the middle of. I have been meaning to read this for so long. It's so short, and I do love Ali Hazelwood's writing. I think it's just addicting and quick. Like, I just find myself never reaching for it, but I definitely want to continue in the series because this is the last book in Ali Hazelwood's backlist that I have not read, because I've read literally everything else. She's just like an auto-buy author for me because her books are just like a silly fun time, you know, like not that serious, but just a silly fun time. I feel like I'll probably pick this up as a palate cleanser in between another series that I read. The next series is one that I also started this year, and that was Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. I've actually read this book before, back when it came out a while ago. I scored a copy of this on a free donation cart of books that you could just take. I had it for a few months and I told myself, I'm either going to read it this month or I'm going to unhaul it. Well, I read it, and instead of unhauling it, I ended up ordering the whole series because I devoured it. So far, I am 3 books and 2 novellas into the series, and I am just having a great time. This is a YA dystopian novel where our main character has a touch that is so powerful and so dangerous that it can be fatal. The thing about this series is, I'm going to be honest, the plot and the writing aren't really that great, but what is the romance, the slow burn, the tension, the male main character who would literally burn down the world for our female main character. Those parts of the books are what is addicting. I read those 3 books and 2 novellas in 3 days. I feel like the reason why I ended up taking a break is because Shatter Me was actually supposed to be a trilogy in the beginning. I read the original trilogy and I decided to take a break after that, and then I just haven't picked up the next book. I think because I binged so much of it in a short period of time, I was just kind of like, oh, okay, like I need to take a break from it, which is weird because I absolutely loved it and had an amazing time while I was reading the series. I really felt like I was just in this world. It's definitely a series that I want to continue, and I'm hoping that I finish this series before the end of the year because the books are all fairly short, totally bingeable. Like, you could read these books in one sitting. Just again, the scenes with Mr. Aaron Warner, I'm dead. I love this man. I love him. A really fun series I love talking about that not a lot of people know about is the Emma M. Lyon series. These are the unselected journals of Emma M. Lyon. These books are just incredible. They're so short. I only have one physically. They're all on Kindle Unlimited. I do want to own this series. I just haven't bought them yet. There are currently 8 out and there are going to be many more. These are the best palate cleansers in the world. If you like the time period of like Bridgerton and the wittiness and the banter of Pride and Prejudice, then you're going to love this series. It's so laugh out loud funny. It is so bingeable. I just have such a love for the characters in this series. We are following a woman who has just come of age, and she was supposed to inherit this house and this living because her parents passed. And when she comes into this house, she finds out that the uncle who was supposed to be taking care of this house and her money pretty much spent most of it. So this is just a really funny series about what she does from there and the different gentlemen that she comes in contact with. It's really fun because in the series you don't really know who's going to be the end all be all MMC, and you start getting attached to like all of the different men, and like it's like one book you're like, oh, he's my favorite, or the next book you're like, oh, he's my favorite. Each book is a span of like 3 months of her life, but again, she's just the funniest main character, and the wit and the banter is unmatched in the series. I will absolutely be continuing in the series, and I plan on catching up on this series before the end of the year. I have read 4 books of 8, but again, they're just so short that honestly, if I just read one a month, I'd be good. Next is the Dream Harbor series that I'm currently in the middle of. And when I say I'm in the middle of it, I mean I've only read this book. This is book number 4. I think what really sells this series is the covers. It's just the cutest, like most wholesome cover. I did enjoy this book. I just honestly was shocked by the spice in it. Honestly, just from the cover. I think I just thought it was going to be less spicy. I did enjoy the coziness of it, but it just felt really insta-lovey to me. However, I do feel like this author and the artist of these covers just understood the assignment when it comes to like seasonal atmospheric reading. And just because of that, I'll continue on in the series. Like in the fall time, I do want to read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. In the winter time, I do want to read The Cinnamon Bun whatever it's called, and The Christmas Tree Farm. I don't even know the names of these, obviously. I just feel like they're really good seasonal reads, and so, yeah, I'm going to continue on in this series. Next is a big one for a lot of people, and I'm having mixed feelings on this one, and that is the Imperion series by Rebecca Yarros. This is the only physical book that I owned. I really, really enjoyed Fourth Wing the first time I read it. I think it's very addictive. I would highly recommend it to people who are new to fantasy or people who are coming back to reading after not reading for a long time. Like, this book is pretty addictive. I liked the story. In this book, we're following Violet in her kind of journey to become a dragon rider. Is that even what they're called? I can't remember what they're called. Yeah, it is called a rider. In this world, riders bond with dragons, but it obviously is a very, very dangerous process, and she has a chronic illness that puts her at a disadvantage. I loved the enemies to lovers vibe going on in here. My problem with this series really came when I tried to listen to the series with my husband, and also when I read Iron Flame. The thing is when I went to go back and listen to the series, there was just a lot of, for me, immaturity. I just felt like when I went to go reread it after having read a ton of books since then, I just feel like it's a good book, it's not a great book. There are just a few things that bug me. I feel like there's so much miscommunication in this series that could be solved by them just sitting down and coming to terms with their problems and like with each other. And I feel like we were just going around and around and around, having the same conversations again and again and again. And also something that honestly kind of bugged me in this book when I went to go reread it or re-listen to it, that is kind of weird, and I guess it's a me thing. The amount of swear words in this almost got to a point that it was comical. I don't really mind when a book has strong language. Maybe I should, but I don't really mind that, but in here it was so often. It was kind of like, you know, when you go around like middle schoolers and they have just started to swear, and so they swear every other word. That's kind of how it was feeling in this book. So that's just kind of like a tiny pet peeve of mine. I have not read Onyx Storm, and I honestly don't have plans to, maybe until the next book comes out. I don't know. I didn't love Iron Flame. I just didn't love it. It was just all right, and I feel like I've been seeing the plot twists coming a mile away. I've already guessed the plot twist in Onyx Storm, and I know that because I was talking to my friend and I guessed, and she was like, yeah, you're right. And so that also doesn't like make me want to read it, especially since it's such a brick of a book to get to a point that I already know it's going to. I just have a lot of thoughts. I'm very mixed on this. I feel like I'm going to continue in it, but I also feel like it's going to be one of those things that it's like, when the new book comes out, if I have FOMO or if I feel like I'm not really in the middle of a lot of other books, then yeah, I'll continue it. I feel like people are going to come for me with what I just said about that series. Another series that I'm currently in the middle of is the Serpent and Dove. I think it's actually called what is it actually called? What is the series actually called? I don't even remember, but the first book is Serpent and Dove. I just have it packed away in a box right now. I actually really enjoyed the first book in this series. It's like a witch hunter trope, and I don't know, I really liked how it was done. I've always liked that trope, the same kind of a trope that's like Nina and Matthias in Six of Crows. I know that's not witch and witch hunter, but kind of. And also, you know, the Crimson Moth duology. It's just a trope that I really, really enjoy. Loved the first book in the series when it first came out, and I just forgot about it. And then I just haven't gotten back into it, but I do have the next 2 books in the series. I do think fall time would be a good time to get into it. But again, I'm in the middle of so many series that I don't know when I'm going to get to this, but I am going to continue in this series. Next is another YA fantasy, and this is a book that I read a few years ago, and I just haven't continued on in the series, but I want to, and that's the Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson. It starts with A Kiss of Deception, which I read a few years ago. I'm not gonna lie, at the time when I read this book, I just couldn't care less, but I feel like it was one of those things that I was not in the mood for, and I forced myself to read it. This is another one of those that booktubers who I love, who like a lot of the same books as me, have loved that series, and so it made me want to continue in the series and give it another try. I think I might have to reread the first book in the series because it's been a long time. But I do want to read it because I've really been wanting to read the Dance of Thieves duology. It's a prequel to that series. From what I remember, in this series, there's this princess, and she's somewhere, and these 2 men come, and one of them is an enemy prince, and one of them is set out to her, and she doesn't know that. Wow, I'm so eloquent. She doesn't know like their identities or who they are or what their things are. And I think there's gonna be a little love triangle. That's literally all I know. That was a horrible explanation, and I apologize to fans of this series. But I am going to continue in this series. I'm very, very intrigued by it. I've also just kind of been tempted to read the Dance of Thieves duology first and see if I care to go back to it. I don't know. If you read that series, let me know what I should do in the comments below. Now for the last book series that I am in the middle of. It is currently the Misborn series by Brandon Sanderson. I am currently reading this book, and I am struggling a little bit. I will say, I've heard incredible things about this series. I think the problem that I have is not in the story or the plot or the characters. I'm very, very intrigued by that. It has lots of tropes in here that I enjoy, i.e. a fantasy heist, a rebellion. Some of my favorite books on the entire planet have these tropes. My problem is with his writing, and I'm not saying that to insult, because obviously he writes an incredible story. I just feel like Brandon Sanderson is so very wordy that the way that he tells the story doesn't make it addicting to me. And the thing is, I want to read addicting books. I want to read books that I don't feel like I have to push myself to continue to read. And that's kind of how I feel with this first installment of Misborn. I feel like I've already started it, and I do like the story, so I am going to continue in this first book, but I think this first book will be really telling on whether or not I continue in this series or not. This is a book that I have put down to read other books, but I do want to finish it within this next month, and so that will just be really telling on whether I continue or not in this series. I don't have any bad things to say about this series, so don't get offended if this is your favorite series on the entire planet, because the story is really fun. Like, I do like the story. The magic system is so unique. I really like that. It's just how wordy it is and the way that he writes. It's just like not something that I'm dying to continue to read. And yeah, I don't know, like life's too short to read books that you're not really intrigued by. So all of that to say, don't get mad at me. We all have different writers that we connect with and don't connect with. That officially concludes all 26 series that I am in the middle of, 14 of which I am still in the process of reading, since I am caught up on the other 11. I really have been wanting to start doing reading vlogs where I continue in the series that I have currently starting, so please let me know if your favorite series is one that I have mentioned, because that will help me know which ones to prioritize. If you've made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Please leave the sword emoji in the comments below if you want to let me know that you stayed here. If we have similar reading tastes or you're interested in some of the books that I'm reading, please stay a while, like this video, subscribe to my channel. I have some really, really fun reading vlogs planned that you will not want to miss. But until then, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!